Hello, thank you all so much for joining us today. We'll give it just a moment to allow for participants to join us in this virtual space, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So, hello. Thank you so much for joining us for our Falcon live chat entitled Deposited Now What? Understanding the New Falcon Experience. It is so wonderful to be spending some time with you today. My name is Bobby Lynn Kekik, and I'm the Executive Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding. And I am joined by one of my colleagues, and I'll invite her to introduce herself now.
Hey everyone, my name is Caroline Horn. I'm the Associate Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding here at Bentley.
Wonderful. So, as I mentioned, you are here at one of our Falcon Live chats. And just so that you're aware, our Falcon Live chat series serves as our webinar based orientation for family members. This allows us to bring a little bit of Bentley and resources and connection to you, regardless of where you are in the world. We understand that this experience can look very different for all of our families. This may be your first student going away to college or your last or somewhere in between. And so we really like to make sure that we can continue to provide content and resources throughout this onboarding experience to really help make this a smoother transition for you and your students. Now, you've heard me say the word family, and here at Bentley, this really serves as an umbrella term as we think about parents, guardians, family members, supporters, friends, really anyone that helps to be in the support of our incoming new students, which we lovingly refer to them as our baby Falcs. So you may hear us reference that terminology throughout our presentation. We really do think of our family members as partners in this experience. We recognize that you have been with your student for much longer than they have been a part of this Bentley community. And we really like to work in partnership to help to provide those resources and the support that our students really deserve and require as they're making this transition. We've seen some really great success with our family members serving as ambassadors to this resource and knowledge base. Now, don't get me wrong, we will be sharing this information via email, through social media, through text, through videos, so on and so forth. And that will be from our professional staff team, our faculty members, and peer leaders. But knowing that they have a trusted resource in their support, in their family, it always seems to help just a little bit more to be able to have that there. With that being said, we do obviously want to encourage our students to be the ones taking the lead of this experience. And that can be a hard transition, especially with our students coming off of the admission process, where that may have been more of a partnership and a collaboration with you and your student. And now, as we start to make this shift and transition into life at Bentley, it does look a little different. It doesn't happen overnight, but by kind of chipping away a little bit at a time, it really helps us to get to a wonderful transition period for the students as they kick off their journey here at Bentley. So with that being said, why don't we get started with our presentation? We are recording this session as we want to make sure that you have this as a resource moving forward. And we're fortunate that we have new Falcons joining us from all across the world. And we want to make sure that we have this as a resource for anyone who may want to access it. We will have an opportunity for a live Q&A at the end of our presentation. So you'll see on your screen a little Q&A button. Please feel free to submit those questions throughout the presentation, but we will be answering those at the end. And for anyone that is viewing this as a recording, please feel free to send in a new Falcon question form, and we'd be happy to connect you with the appropriate office for the question that you might have. So, what is the New Falcon experience? That is why you are here, and we want to share with you a little bit about what this is. Well, the New Falcon experience is our comprehensive onboarding process that we host here at Bentley. If you had a student that went to another university, or maybe you're hearing your students' friends or friends of yours that their student is going to college, this period between them choosing a college and actually getting to that college can look very different. And so here at Bentley, what we offer up is a really streamlined, comprehensive experience that allows for preparation, support, and connection. And we really think of this time frame as when our students deposit all the way through till about fall break, which is about mid-October. Now, obviously, the continued transition and settling in will happen throughout that entire first year, but really making sure that we have these specific pillars in place throughout that time has helped to lead to a smoother transition. So as we think about the preparation for our students, this is truly what are the tasks that need to happen. As you join any new community, there are always going to be some essential tasks that need to be accomplished. So we want to think about the task and the preparation that comes along with that. And then also, what are some of the resources that are providing information to prepare students for this next step? We want students to do this and families to be a part of this and have it be a supportive environment. We don't want to just say, hey, here are these tasks, do it. We'll see you when you arrive in August. But we want to make sure that there are different layers of support so that our students and families can really navigate it in what feels best for them. So we have some self-guided resources through our quick guide and our New Falcon Experience website. We'll also have continued communication that will provide support through our weekly newsletters. And then we have our New Falcon question form, which provides you an opportunity to submit any question that you might have. And then it allows us to help navigate which office, which resource might be the best to support you with that. Another piece that isn't listed on this slide, but is really essential to thinking about support during the New Falcon experience, is our New Falcon mentor. And this role really serves as an opportunity to have one-on-one connection for our incoming students with an upper class student to really support them during this summer experience. This can mean individual conversations, personalized outreach, if they want to jump on a Zoom call and just chat virtually face to face before they meet when they come to campus in the fall, they're able to do that. So they're a really great resource for thinking about some of that more personalized, individualized support. And then another component that our New Falcon mentors help to provide is connection. And so as we think about our students joining a new community, we know that connection is key. And the more opportunities for connection will lead to a sense of belonging. And the more that our students feel that sense of belonging, the higher likeliness of them succeeding and whatever success looks like for them in this first year. And so there's a few different ways that we will do that virtually through our nestworking opportunities, which we'll share a little bit more about with you in a moment. And then through our orientation program, where our students are physically on campus with us before they start classes. And then that will continue with a programming series called Falcon 40. Like I said, up until about that fall break period. And then we'll have some other programs that will kind of take over at that point. But this is really where we're centering all of this work is around preparation, support, and connection. So let's dive into these areas just a little bit more. I want to really highlight our New Falcon tasks because this is something that our students are tangibly doing and something that is required of them pretty quickly. On this screen, you'll see this is a snapshot from our New Falcon Quick Guide that starts to provide a very brief timeline of our tasks. However, students are able to see in their Bentley Connect portal, which is the portal that they've used through the admission process, or in our New Falcon Experience website, the specific deadlines, and there's even countdowns to those deadlines on our New Falcon Experience website. So we highly encourage folks to familiarize themselves with that. As you start thinking about, okay, What does my student need to do? The first thing we always want to encourage our students to do after they deposit is to set up their Bentley email account. Now, we've been tracking as our students go in to fully set that up, and we only have a handful of students who are really left in completing that task, but it is a good task to just check in with your student and make sure that they've completed that because they will need that email address to be able to access all of the other accounts. The other two pieces that we highly encourage folks to do right off the bat is to follow us on Instagram. And while that may not be as important as setting up their Bentley email, we really try to think about different communication channels for reminders, for information, for connection. And so if we can have your students scrolling through Instagram and they see a reminder there and that gets them back into this space, then even better. And then again, those two resources that I highlighted before, just really essential to helping students and families understand this baseline foundation for this new Falcon experience. The other tasks that are going to feel a little bit more timely and heightened for your students are around some of our academic components and then also around some of our housing components for students who are planning to live on campus. We did send out a communication in May to family members that really outlined some of the placement processes that we have here at Bentley. So that way we were trying to be as proactive as possible for folks to really get a head start on some of these tasks because we know that they can take a little bit of time. And we fully acknowledge and recognize that depending on where our students are coming from, this time looks a little different for everyone, but for a bulk of our students who are in Massachusetts, New England, in the US, they may be graduating either last week, this week, or the coming weeks. And so we know that there's a lot happening personally in addition to taking this next step as they think about college. So really wanting to make sure that our students can stay on top of their task so it's not feeling as rushed and heightened for them. So those two academic placement pieces that we want to highlight are the critical reading and writing essay and then our math placement process. So these two processes are really important and help to provide relevant information so that our faculty are able to help support our students to understand which courses they should be registering for in late July to be able to start classes in the fall. Those deadlines are on June 10th. So it is really around the corner. And so we want to make sure that students are in there and are completing it. One quick note that I do want to make about the math placement process for the June 10th deadline, that is for students to complete once. With that placement process, there is an ability for students to retake that assessment if they would like to score at a higher level in order to access whichever math course they may be trying to access. So please know if your student takes it and they're not at the level that they want to be at, they have plenty of opportunity to go in, use some of the prep modules in there so that they can refresh some of these skills and then go in and retake that assessment. They can retake it up to 5 times. Most students will take it twice. The next piece is our housing and meal plan agreement and application. And this is only applicable to students who are planning to live on campus. For students who are looking to live on campus, you should have received an email from our residential center in May that gives you access to the housing agreement. If your student has misplaced that email, no worries. If they log into Bentley Connect, they'll be able to access the housing portal right from there. They'll go in, they'll complete their housing and meal plan agreement, and then they will have access to the housing application. This is where they'll fill in some of the information about some of their living preferences so that way they can be paired up with fellow roommates. Now, if your student has a roommate that they are interested in living with, then they can also submit that information in the application. But all students who are hoping to live together will need to put that information in there as they're submitting the application process. To be very honest, most students will go through the internal pairing process, and 9 times out of 10, it works out wonderfully. And then it allows them to create some additional friendships outside of that roommate space. But it really is going to be at your student's comfort level. And then the last task we wanted to highlight before we move on to all of these other essential components are the health and immunization records. And we highlight this because this is a task that we've heard from students that they will typically connect with their family member to get a little bit of support and guidance. I know personally, as a grown adult who's responsible for a 4.5-year-old, I still have questions about my own health records. So this is something that our students may come to you and ask questions about. And as they're accessing Bentley Connect, one last reminder that the login information is whatever they've been using throughout the admission process, which is typically their personal email, a high school email, another college email. And so what we encourage students to do is to update that login so that way it's their Bentley information, and then they only have to remember one login. Bentley Beginnings is our online orientation. So within that preparation pillar, this is one of the tools that we use to really help create that foundation as students are transitioning into life at Bentley. It's a really great resource. It's not too long of a task for folks to complete. It takes about an hour if they're going through and viewing all of the videos. And if you as a family member are interested in viewing this content, you are able to create a guest account, and then you're able to follow along with what your student is seeing as well. The next piece that I'm sure are on your students' mind is when they register for classes. And so we wanted to give a quick plug that our transfer students will be registering on July 27th. And our first year students will be registering on July 29th. There's a whole lot of things that will happen before that, but we do want you to put a little bit of save the date for those dates so that way your student is prepared and ready. To be able to prepare for that time, there are some really wonderful resources that our undergraduate academic advising team has put together. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, there's a quick snapshot of what that website looks like. So we do have specific content for our first year students, for our transfer students, and then for our family members who are supporting their students through this process. So you and your student should go in, review that content. They're quick videos, but really helps to give you a robust and comprehensive understanding of the academic overview and how to plan for your courses. If your student still has questions after reviewing that content, no worries. We have optional virtual advising support that will take place in July, and that will help to complement what your student has already done up until that point. And then if there are still questions after your student registers for classes, there will be an opportunity to connect with an advisor in person during orientation. I'm now going to turn it over to Caroline to talk a little bit more about the support and connection that we have through the New Falcon experience.
To ensure that you have appropriate resources and support throughout the New Falcon experience, we have created our New Falcon Quick Guide and our New Falcon Experience website. The Quick Guide provides essential details and direct links to help you access information and complete tasks. And if you are looking for more details and resources, we encourage you to check out bentley.edu/New Falcon Experience, as there are more details on your tasks, support, and ways to get connected at Bentley. And there's also a great section for family members to help support their New Falcon. The next piece is our New Falcon News. And so this is a weekly newsletter sent to new students every single Tuesday. It includes deadlines, campus partner content, Bentley student life highlights in one centralized message. And family members are copied on this, and each edition is posted on the New Falcon Experience website and on our New Falcon Experience app through campus groups. Our New Falcon mentors are in their second year of their role this year, and it is an upper class student leader at Bentley who plays a crucial role in supporting incoming students through their summer onboarding experience. And so all new students receive a mentor who will provide helpful reminders and tips, answer questions, and help students feel more comfortable in starting at Bentley. And so mentors just started reaching out to their cohorts of students last week. Students should have received their second email from our New Falcon Mentor team today. And we also spotlighted all of our team members today on our Instagram. So definitely check that out to learn more about these students. Campus Groups is our main engagement hub for everything related to the New Falcon experience over the summer. Students can refer here for important information regarding New Falcon networking events, orientation programming, activity and program updates, and additional resources. All of our incoming students were added into this platform yesterday, so hopefully they have started to check this out. They can download the Campus Groups app. They will also be receiving messages from our new Falcon mentors in this platform. So, definitely a great spot to really learn more about what is going on this summer and be able to connect with each other and our upper class students. New Falcon Networking is starting this month. We have an event tonight called the Roommate Mixer with the Residential Center. So if your student is interested in attending, that will begin at 8 p.m. We'll have some of our hall directors, some of our student team, but just a chance for students to get to connect with each other and our upper class student leaders and some staff members. But these events will take place throughout the summer for students to network with fellow Falcons, ask questions, and win Bentley swag. And more details will be shared on Instagram and campus groups. Our Instagram account is at Welcome Falcons, and it has a lot of great information in it throughout the summer. And then as they participate in events, they have the opportunity to receive badges based on their involvement on campus groups. And then our at Welcome Falcons account is our Instagram account. We have a lot of different series throughout the summer for students to really engage with our community to learn more. So one of our series is Baby Falc Fridays. And so each week we'll have a different office on campus take over the account on Friday. We'll introduce the topic for the week each Monday. And so if your students or you have any questions for that office, feel free to fill out that question box, and those staff members will go live on Friday answering those questions. We also do a series called Where in the World Wednesdays, where we highlight some of our student team members, but also some of our students all across the world to really make sure that students are seeing where everyone is at as they begin their Bentley journey. Tech Tip Tuesdays highlight a lot of the different platforms we're using for various checklist tasks, but also some things that will help them while they're on campus. So we are an Outlook school, so they can learn more about Outlook and just some of the various apps that they'll use on campus. So like Laundry View and some apps with dining as well. And then we also will highlight important tasks. So if your student is wanting to learn more about different tasks that are being assigned to them, they can get reminders on the Welcome Falcons account as well.
Right. So we have two quick slides left for you, and then we're going to open it up for some question and answer. But we wanted to put in another save the date for our orientation program. So this is something that will take place for our students. If our students are international, they will arrive on August 25th. And if they are domestic, then they will arrive on August 27th. There are a few other pre-arrival programs that students will be learning about: our Mosaic experience for our students of color and their allies, and then also our Defined Communities experience, which is an opportunity within the residence halls that students will apply into. So if students are participating in one or both of those experiences, they would arrive earlier, participate in those, and then roll into the larger university orientation on August 27th. And throughout this program, it really is an opportunity and chance for students to settle in, to connect with faculty and staff, and really understand, what does it mean to be a part of this university community? What are my rights and responsibilities as a new community member? And that can look and feel very different. Of course, we want students to understand what is the academic curriculum, rigor, resources, and how do they maximize that? What their academic experience was in high school or at a previous college or university could look and feel very different than what they experience at Bentley. We want them to be engaged. We want them to not just be active in the classroom, but really thinking about what does life look like outside of the classroom and how do I fill my time and really maximize this. So thinking about different social and educational and cultural opportunities to really enhance their well-being and experience. And something that is really important to us is also thinking about how our students fit into our larger university tradition. Being able to be at an institution that's over 100 years old is really wonderful. And we want our students to think about how they are contributing to the growth and the continuation of the Bentley story and allowing them to show up as their authentic self. And that's why we chose them to be here in this community. And that's why we want them to really show up and make the most of their time here. The last piece that we wanted to make sure that we could chat a little bit more about are some of our parent and family resources and what that's going to look like for you. And so right now you are already in one of our Falcon Live chats, so you've already made it to step one. But as I mentioned earlier, this is our webinar-based orientation program that really allows us to continue to engage with our family members throughout the summer and the first year. We recognize that we could not find a time that would work for everyone, so these sessions are recorded. Our videos are posted to our Bentley Orientation YouTube channel, and then that way it provides opportunity for you to access this content as you see fit throughout the summer and the first year. And throughout the first year is really important to us because, again, we realize that just getting your student to the physical campus, there's still a whole lot of support and knowledge that is going to come after that. And so we want to continue to be there and help to share that throughout that first year. If you are looking for some on-demand resources, we do have some videos that introduce some of the different offices and support services that we have here at Bentley. If you are able to join your student on campus when they arrive, if they are moving onto campus or if they are starting orientation as a commuter student, there will be some specific receptions that will take place the week of August 24th. So if you are traveling with your student, we'd love to have you join us for those opportunities. And we recognize that that's not an opportunity for all families. So we will be hosting a virtual workshop for families in September that gives you access to our Vice President for Student Affairs. We typically have a student panel. We have our colleagues from undergraduate academic advising join to talk about academics in that first semester, in that first year, and the ability to learn a little bit more about some of the support resources that your students may be taking advantage of in those first few weeks. To complement all of this, you'll obviously have access to the New Falcon news throughout the New Falcon experience. But we'll also invite you into our Bentley Brief, which is our university newsletter that launches monthly. And so you will start receiving those. And if you do not have your contact information already shared with Bentley, you'll still be able to do that. If you go into the New Falcon Experience website, specifically into the family section, there is a link there that you can go ahead, provide your contact information, and we will update that within the system. And then the last piece that you heard Caroline reference is our New Falcon question form. This serves as a really important resource. So when you have those questions and you're not quite sure where to go, you submit that form, and then we do some of the legwork to help get you to the right office to be able to get those resources. So with that being said, we are going to stop sharing our screen and open it up to any questions that you may have, whether it's about the content that we just covered, or if there are other questions that are coming up for you as your student is beginning the New Falcon experience. All right, so there is a question about updating Bentley email. So if your student, how to do that. And so if your student logs into their Bentley Connect portal, and they go to their new student checklist, if they scroll all the way down to the bottom, there are going to be three links that they can click into, one of them being change email. If they click change email, that should give them the opportunity to be able to go in and to add that Bentley email in there as the login. What other questions are on people's minds? We know it's information overload, so we completely understand if you're just trying to digest all of this content. We know that it is a lot. And that's why we try to host these sessions so that we can provide that space for folks. But as we reference throughout the presentation, that New Falcon Quick Guide and that New Falcon Experience website, they're really tremendous resources to continue to refer back to throughout the summer. We will continue to update the New Falcon Experience website throughout. So if we see that families or students are asking certain questions and we want to make sure that the answers are out there for folks, or we need to be more clear with some of the communications that we've launched, we'll continue to update it there. That New Falcon News, that weekly newsletter that launches every Tuesday, is another really valuable resource to see updates and reminders. And again, if you haven't updated your contact information, please do, because that will allow you to receive those newsletters and then future communications as they're needed. Caroline, you want to take the roommate one or do you want me to jump in?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So students will find out who their roommates are in late July. Typically, what will happen is right before students register for classes, they will receive that information in their housing portal. So it will give them whatever their roommate's contact information is, whether that is one other person, two other people, three other people. There are housing opportunities that are single, double, triple, and quads. So really depends on where your student is living. And what they'll have access to. And they'll be able to put that information in the application as well. But they will receive that information towards the end of July and then have some opportunity to reach out to their roommates and start chatting before they arrive on campus. I know that's typically a time where folks might say, who's bringing the micro fridge? Or I have a TV, I have a laptop, I want to do this. So just a chance to kind of talk through some of those details before everybody shows up with all the things for all the rooms and spaces. We will have a Falcon live chat specific to our residential center and living on campus at the end of this month on June 30th. So if you are looking to learn more about some of the different housing options or the meal plans or what it looks like to live on campus, we highly encourage you to join us for that session. And if you haven't had a chance to come to campus yet and you want to see what the residence halls look like, if you do go to our New Falcon Experience website, we have some virtual tours that you can click on that also exists on the housing website directly as well. But if you're on our website, you'll be able to see that there. And it's kind of neat to just be able to get a 360 view of what those spaces look like and what furniture is in them and just start planning out what that looks like. All right. Well, I'm not seeing other questions come through, but please know that we really would love for you to continue to reach out. We understand that questions are probably going to pop up throughout the summer. So feel free to submit those New Falcon question forms. We have a really robust FAQ if you'd rather view that before reaching out. And again, please encourage your student to connect with their New Falcon mentor. They're a really valuable resource. I always think of it as if I'm, trying to access support because I want to return an item or something, right? I always think, I just want to talk to a person. And this new Falcon Mentor gives you that ability to talk to a person and be able to get that support and really work one-on-one with them. So highly encourage your student to do that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being a part of the Bentley community. We are so grateful that your student has chosen to have this next chapter here at Bentley. And we look forward to spending more time with you throughout this summer and hopefully getting to a place where we get to meet you on campus at some point, even if it's at that commencement stage when your student is graduating. So thank you so, so much. And we look forward to seeing you at a future Falcon Live Chat. Take care.